is this your first time to Newcastle? Vaiyāsaki Dāsa? First time, yeah. So we usually say, if it's your first time, don't make it your last time. So please everyone, let's give Vaiyāsaki Prabhu. I mean, he needs no introduction, but we're going to give him a little introduction anyway. But let's firstly give him a warm welcome, a very warm ISKCON Newcastle welcome. Let's chant the mantra, full mantra, 3 times, as loud as we possibly can. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah, so Vaiyāsaki Prabhu, I mean, those of you who have been around for some time, we grew up listening to Vaiyāsaki Prabhu's bhajans. They sustained us. Prabhupada sometimes would say, what is the difficulty? Sometimes after a nice kirtan, then all your problems go out the window and you realise, what is the difficulty? So I've just been cooking actually for the last 45 minutes in the kitchen, and I've been listening to your Kirtan Ras album. I'm feeling ecstatic. So after hearing such kirtans, we feel, what is the difficulty? But Vaiyāsaki Prabhu was born in London, raised in Canada, and came back to London to seek his fame and fortune. He was a musician beforehand, rock and roll star, probably on the verge of breaking it into the big time. I think you had friends who did break into the big time. But somehow or another, Srila Prabhupada hooked Vaiyāsaki Prabhu, and he thought, yes, okay, so let me do music, continue to do music, but Krishna had another plan. So of course his music is famous all around the world. So joined, started associating with devotees in 1972, joined ISKCON in 73, initiated by Srila Prabhupada in 1975. 1978, he went to Bengal and spent 5 years there learning the art of this wonderful kirtan. He's toured the world, visiting 89 countries and counting. The other day, Haridas told me there's 192 countries, 193? Anyway, you've visited practically half of the world sharing this kirtan. We're really happy to have Prabhu here this evening, so I'm going to just hand over now to Vaiyāsaki Prabhu, who will lead us this evening.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama,
Rama Rama.
Rama Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Krishna So this is the process of realizing your eternal spiritual identity. Everyone's thinking they are the body. Everyone's thinking I am male or I am female. You're thinking that I'm English, and you have a passport to prove it. See? Here's my passport, I'm English. And someone else is thinking I'm American, I have an American passport. This is all illusion. It has nothing to do with reality. So, to awaken our true spiritual identity, we have to hear the holy name. What does hear mean? Shravanam, hearing. It means that you allow the holy name to enter through the ear into your consciousness and into your heart. And that's where the purification takes place, in the heart. Prabhupada described it like this. Malati Devi, my god sister, asked Srila Prabhupada this question. What should we be thinking of when we chant? So this is what Srila Prabhupada replied. The chanting is between the tongue and the ear. The tongue vibrates the holy names. This is known as active devotional service. The ear hears the vibration of the holy name. This is called passive devotional service. And when we hear, that sound vibration enters into our consciousness and into our heart, and then the purification takes place. We don't have to do anything except to allow the holy name to enter into our heart. Excuse me. Then Prabhupada said, the mind is not part of the process. It's not part of the process. We should turn the mind off like you turn off the light switch. Turn off the lights, turn off the mind. It's the same way. So a passive, peaceful mind allows us to hear the holy name, and then it can enter into our heart and purify us. What if we're thinking while we're chanting the holy name? Then what happens? Well, Srila Prabhupada said then the mind is not part of the process. Then the mind is interrupting the process. How does it interrupt the process? Because when you think, you can't hear. When you think, you can't hear. And I'm going to prove it to you, not from my experience, not from Shastra. I'm going to prove it from your own life. Because if I prove it from your life, then you'll remember. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Think back to a time in the past. Either you were going somewhere or you were doing something. And while you were going somewhere or doing something, you heard a voice inside, go here instead, or do something else instead. And you stopped and you thought about it and you analyzed it. And then you decided to continue with what you were doing. And then later on, you realize, oops, I should have followed the voice. How many people have had that experience? Everybody. So who was that voice? Well, I didn't discover who that voice was until 1990. In the winter, I was driving from New York to Los Angeles. And as I was passing Chicago, and the sun was starting to go down and it began to snow, I heard an inner voice say, take the next exit and get a hotel for the night. And I thought about it, and I thought, well, it's still light out. I can still go further. Why should I stop so soon? And I remember as I passed that exit, I looked at it, and I just kept on going. Well, what happened was, 10 miles down the road, it had been snowing for a long time, and half of that snow had melted and had become ice. So that highway was full of ice. So all of a sudden I'm driving and the car is starting to slide. I'm trying to keep control of the car. I'm turning the wheel this way and that way gently to counteract the turning, pumping gently on the brakes to slow down. But nothing was working. And then in my mind I had a vision that the car goes off the road, tumbles over and over, and is smashed. That vision came to me and I cried out, Krishna, help! And at that moment, the car turned at a 45-degree angle and went into a snowbank on the side of the road and came to a stop. And 1 second later, a big lorry carrying a huge trailer went by in that lane. And I realized if I had been in that lane 1 second earlier, I would have been mashed potato, completely finished. So I was sitting in that car, I was shivering. I almost lost my life by 1 second. Why didn't I follow that voice? I was asking myself, and who was that voice? And how did the voice know the future? And then I came to the conclusion, only Krishna knows the future. Nobody else knows the future. My mind doesn't know the future. So I realized that Krishna had warned me, take the exit off the road. There was danger ahead, but I never followed. So from that experience, I decided I have to train myself to always follow that voice, that inner voice of Paramatma. And so, because I almost lost my life, I took it very seriously. Now, all of you in this room right now, you have some questions in your mind. And most of you are thinking the same question. So I'll answer that question first. Most of you are thinking, how do I know which is the voice of Paramatma and how do I know which is the voice of my mind? Is that what you were thinking? Okay. So here's the answer. Paramatma is Krishna. He knows everything past, present, and future. So he just appears in your consciousness in 2 seconds and tells you what to do. Take the next exit, get a hotel. And vanishes. He just comes, speaks, and goes. The mind analyzes. Why does the mind analyze? Because the mind doesn't know past, present, and future. And as the mind analyzes, it's analyzing based on the present knowledge that we have. We don't have future knowledge. So when we hear that voice, we have to train ourselves to follow it. And that's called Paramatma realization. We have to become Paramatma realized, like Srila Prabhupada was. Prabhupada was preparing to go to London to start the Krishna consciousness movement. His Guru Maharaj had sent his other godbrothers there. Paramatma says, no, go to New York. So he went to New York. Paramatma said, do like this, so he did like that. Paramatma said, say like this, so he said like that. And that's how a 70-year-old man could spread the Hare Krishna movement all over the world in 10 short years, in so many different countries, because he just followed what Krishna told him. Now, everybody can become Paramatma realized if we just learn to follow that inner voice. And it's not easy. I made up my mind I was going to train myself to follow that inner voice, but the habit that I had, the samskara in my consciousness, that's the Sanskrit word for a habit, from many previous lives, was to analyze and follow my mind. So gradually I began to realize I'm not following that voice. I have to try harder, I have to train myself to follow that voice, because the mind follows the habits that you have. And what is the main habit that we have? The mind has certain habits that we all follow because we brainwashed ourselves over many, many births. Number one samskara that the mind falls into is sense gratification. We think back when we were younger. what we did, which was so enjoyable. Think of the past. Our mind goes to the future, what I would like to have in the future. My own house on the bay, with my own boat, servants, whatever it is. That's one habit that we have, the mind has, going to sense gratification. The second habit that we have is the mind analyzes and we train ourselves to follow the mind, which means we're taking shelter of our own intelligence. In Bhakti Yoga, we're meant to take surrender. We're meant to surrender to Krishna's intelligence, not my own intelligence. So when Krishna speaks, we automatically follow. If we do that, we'll never make a mistake. We'll always be successful. Is it logical? Think about it. To follow someone who can see the future, is that a good idea or not? If he tells you to go to the horse racing track and bet on horse number 5, put all your money on it, you'll do it because he knows the future. So when Krishna speaks to us, we should follow. We have to train ourselves to put a new samskara into our consciousness. Kick out the old, which is sense gratification and taking shelter of our own intelligence, and put in that new samskara, taking shelter of Krishna, Paramatma, his voice. Now, let's analyze this. Let's try to understand the situation. Supposing you come to me and you have a problem in your life and you feel that maybe I can help you, and you open your heart up and you tell me the problem, and then you say, what do you think? Can you help me? And if I say, oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking something else, I didn't hear you, what did you say? You will not be encouraged to come to me anymore with your problems. So when we don't listen to people, we don't listen, they won't talk to us. If you don't listen to Krishna, he speaks to you less and less. Now the opposite, supposing you come to me, and every time you come to me, I listen carefully, and I give you good advice, and I'm very concerned, and I'm trying to help you. Then you'll come more and more to me. Logical? Yes. Am I speaking logic?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Krishna is very logical. So if we want Krishna to talk to us more and more, let's follow what he says. Then he'll be encouraged to talk more and more. Like he did with Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada followed everything he said, therefore Krishna spoke to him all the time. Shrutakirti, who was Srila Prabhupada's servant for 2 years, traveled with him all over the world. One day, he was always noticing that Srila Prabhupada was reading his own books. So one day he came out of his room and he was chanting japa, and he put the book down. So Shrutakirti says, Srila Prabhupada, you're reading your own books. You're always reading your own books. And Prabhupada said, yes. Because I didn't write them. I was only taking dictation. Krishna was writing them. So we know that Prabhupada always heard Krishna, always followed Krishna. So that example, that on Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, are all the words that Krishna spoke as dictation that Prabhupada took down. That's why he was reading his own books. His secretary, Pradyumna Prabhu, told me that whenever they traveled, they were in a plane or a train, whenever they were going somewhere, Prabhupada was always reading his books. Because they were Krishna's words. So we have to learn to also become Paramatma realized. And once we start hearing the Lord, He'll speak more to us because we're following. And then we become the instrument of the Lord. For example, supposing you're a book distributor and you're not having a good day, no one's taking a book, and an inner voice says, go to another street, and mentions the name of the street. If you go to that street, you'll find people who are interested. But if you ignore it, you'll spend the rest of the day not distributing to anybody. So Krishna knows everything, past, present, and future. So it's intelligent to train ourselves up to hear His voice and follow His voice. That is intelligence. To ignore the voice of someone who can see the future, that's not intelligent. I would say that was maha stupidity. But we're conditioned souls. What does that mean? We're conditioned to behave the same way again and again and again. Because we have these samskaras, habits, bad habits in our, from previous lifetimes, in our consciousness. And we have to change those habits. So that's called a change of heart from conditioned soul to Vaishnava. Servant of the Lord. Das, 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 anudas. We're the servant of the servant of the Lord. That's our eternal constitutional position, whether we're in the material world or in the spiritual world. You're also das, 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 anudas. We're always the servant of the other servants, of the other servants of the Lord. We like to be first, but we're not. One of my godbrothers who left his body so I can give his name. He wasn't well known anyway. His name was Vishal. So one time when we were in Vrindavan, he wanted to go on a morning walk. The president said, you have so much service to do, you just can't go on a morning walk with Prabhupada. So Vishal said, well, what if I wake up super early and do all my service beforehand? Then I can go? Okay, I agreed. Temple president agreed. So he got up at 2 a.m. the next day, chanted all his rounds, did all his service, and he was finished by 5:30. Prabhupada always went for his walk at 6 a.m. So he sat down to wait, and he was feeling tired, and he dozed off. And Prabhupada went for the walk, and he missed it. So when he woke, he was fried to the max. So he waited. He was chanting more japa in front of Prabhupada's rooms there in Vrindavan. When Prabhupada came back and offered his Dandavat pranams, he said, Srila Prabhupada, I'm your most fallen disciple. And when he got up, Prabhupada looked at him and said, you're not the most of anything. We're not the most fallen, we're not the most advanced. We're just very much in the middle. We're just very average. Sometimes we like to think, I'm the best of this or the best of that, or I'm the worst of this, worst of that. If I think I'm the best of something, I have a positive false ego. If I think I'm the worst of something, I have a negative false ego. It's all false ego. I'm just an average devotee trying to learn to be a servant of the servant of the servant. So where does our intelligence come from? Krishna says in the Gita that he gives that intelligence. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give you the intelligence, buddhi, of bhakti yoga. Why? Yena mamupayanti te. So you can come back home to me. He'll give you the intelligence. What else does he give you? Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivishta. I'm seated in everyone's heart. Matasmetya jnanam apohanam cha. And from me, within the heart, comes knowledge, comes remembrance, and also comes forgetfulness. So what knowledge does Krishna give you? The knowledge that you're not this body, that this world is not your home. You're not a man or woman, you're not English or American. And your spirit soul. And this is not your home. Your home is in the spiritual world. And what remembrance does he give you? That you're the servant of the servant of the servant of other spirit souls, pure devotee spirit souls. So why does Krishna also give the Apohan Shakti, the covering Shakti, that you forget everything? He's giving you knowledge and remembrance, but he also gives you forgetfulness. Who knows why Krishna gives you forgetfulness?
So that you can try and fulfill your desires. If you want to try and enjoy separately from Krishna, if you remember Krishna, you can't do it.
Exactly. That's the exact perfect answer right from Shastra. Fulfill your sense gratification desires. Because as a Krishna conscious devotee, you're not interested in sense gratification. So he makes you forget that you're a devotee. Now I can enjoy sense gratification. Krishna is so kind. He fulfills your desires, even though it's against Krishna's best interest. He wants you to become a devotee. He doesn't want you to be absorbed in sense gratification. But because you want it, he fulfills your desire. He loves you so much, he will fulfill your every desire. And he hopes that you will learn from that by getting kicked by the negative karmic reactions. And that's what happens. In this life, why did many of us join? Let's analyze. Many of us came here, we were looking for something better in life. It wasn't get a job, earn some money, go into debt, pay your bills, and then you die. It's got to be something better than that in life. And so we were searching for something better. Right? Am I right?
Yes.
And so, as soon as you were looking for something better, Krishna made an arrangement that you will meet a devotee. As soon as you think like that, there must be something better in life than just this. Krishna arranges, you meet a devotee. And that devotee brings you to the temple, or gives you a book, or gives you prasadam, and then you hear about Krishna consciousness and your spirit soul. You hear the parampara teachings, and you become interested. Wow, this is far. Never have I heard anything like this. Never have I read anything like this in any books. No university teaches this. So when you're at home, you might mention to your friends and family, yeah, I'm thinking of checking out the Hare Krishnas, you know. And what do they say? No, don't do it. It's a dangerous sect. They'll steal all your money. But still, we go against the advice of our family and all the people that are the most close to us. Because we're looking for something better than just ordinary life. But then there's a trap. You join Krishna consciousness, you become a Vaishnava, and you're now enjoying a higher level of life, the mode of goodness. Life is wonderful. You're always happy. You're never in stress and upset. You're not freaking out, screaming and yelling at people like karmis. And then now you're trapped in that mode of goodness lifestyle, which is not the goal of Bhakti Yoga. The goal of Bhakti Yoga is to get out of this lifestyle altogether, 100%, never to return to this material world. Not that we want a better life in the material world. We want to get out altogether. Because everything is temporary. And this is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityaja. All the dharmas, all the religions, everything, all the rules and regulations. Parityaja. Abandon them. And sometimes Prabhupada described Sarva Dharma as various religions. One time in one class he said, Sarva Dharma Parityaja. That means concocted dharmas. Temporary concocted dharmas based on the body, based on your life in the material world. Give it up, because it's based on your body. If you're a man, you may have Kshatriya Dharma. If you're a woman, you have Stri Dharma. But in your next life, you're the woman and she's the man. Now you switch the dharmas. So they're temporary and they're concocted based on your body. So what are you supposed to do? Krishna spends 18 chapters telling Arjuna to follow the Dharma, and now right at the end he's saying, everything I taught you, forget about it. Throw it out the window like an old shoe. Ma mekam sharanam vraja. Just surrender unto me. Let me guide you. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Mam means me. Ekam. Ekam means one. Make me number one. Sharanam, surrender to that. Prabhupada also translates ekam as only surrender to me. If you make someone number one, you're only surrendering to them. They're number one. Raja also has various meanings. Surrender unto me like the residents of Vrindavan surrender unto me. That's one meaning. Another meaning is the Sanskrit word vrajana means tirtha parikrama. Mamekam sharanam vraja means surrender to me wherever you go. So I was thinking about this, trying to get the deep meaning. And then one day I had a realization that when I go from one room in my house to another room, I'm going somewhere. Before I was thinking if I go to one place to another place. But anywhere I go to, Ma mekam sharanam vrajam, surrender to me wherever you go. Then I realized the deep meaning. Krishna is saying, surrender to me every step you take. Every step you take, you're going somewhere. So how to do that? So I'm thinking how to train myself to always think of Krishna every step I take. So I live on the second floor in Vrindavan. So my first idea was every time I go up and down the stairs, every step will be Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So whenever I was going anywhere and there were stairs, people would take the lift, I'd say, I'm going to walk up. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. We did a program once in the building on the 10th floor, and the devotees pushed the button for the lift. I said, I'm walking down. Really? Why? And I explained to them, I got to chant the holy name every step I take. Some of them came with me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Train ourselves every step I take. But then there's times when I'm just walking on the street. I'm not on the stairs. So my next thing was, when I'm walking, in my mind, every step I take, Hare Krishna, Krishna Why am I doing this? Because Krishna is recommending it. It's God's recommendation. And what happens if you do that? Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. I'll take away all your sinful reactions. Sarva pap means all your sinful reactions from the past, from the present, and from the future. Now, how can Krishna take away your sinful reactions from the future when you haven't even come to the future? Because the seeds of those sinful reactions are in the heart. And when you come to the future, you would commit those sinful actions. So Krishna is not only taking away the sinful reactions from past and present, but he's taking away the seeds in your heart, so when you get to the future, you don't commit those sinful actions. Moksha ishyami. It's first tense, present tense, first person. Moksha ishyami. I will give you liberation. I will bring you back home, back to Godhead. Moksha isyati is third person. He will give you. But Krishna is speaking in the first person. Moksha isyami. I will bring you back home, back to Godhead. And then he says, Ma suchaha. What does that mean?
Do not fear.
Do not fear. Why do we have fear to follow Krishna? Krishna is saying, follow me. Don't fear. Why are we afraid to follow Krishna?
Because we don't really have faith that he's God.
You know all the answers. We don't fully believe that Krishna is God. We have an idea. We have faith in that Prabhupada's telling us the truth, but we're lacking in experience. Why are we lacking in experience? Because I'm sleepwalking through my bhakti yoga process instead of being fully awake. I'm not hearing the Lord speaking to me. I'm not following what the Lord is saying to me. So he says, do not fear. And we're fearing because we have doubts. What you don't know is fear of the unknown. So when Krishna says Ma Suchaha, what is he really saying?
Have faith in me.
Almost, but more directly, what's he saying? He's saying, trust me. Krishna's saying, trust me. And that's when I realized that is the problem of everyone in the material world. We do not trust Krishna. Even in ISKCON, we don't trust Krishna. This is 18th chapter, shloka 66. And Krishna says, this is the most confidential knowledge. Don't reveal it to everybody. Only to my devotees reveal it. It's confidential knowledge. And then, the very end of the Gita, after Arjuna has asked so many questions, and Krishna has answered all his questions, then right at the very end, Krishna asks a question for the first time. What does Krishna say? He says, Arjuna, have you listened attentively to what I have spoken to you? Are you now ready to follow my instruction? That's the question Krishna asks Arjuna. It's the question he's asking every one of us also. And what is Arjuna's answer? Arjuna answers, yes, I have heard attentively everything you told me. Please instruct me. I will do whatever you ask me to do. And Prabhupada said, that is the meaning of Gita. Nothing else is the meaning of Gita. Arjuna's understanding is the meaning of Gita. That we've heard what Krishna has said, and now we're ready to follow his instructions. And that's called Bhakti Yoga. Or it's also called Krishna consciousness. Hearing the Lord and following what he says, that's Krishna consciousness. And if we do that, we go back home in this life. In the 8th chapter, Shloka 5, 6, 7, and 8. Bhagavad Gita 8.5, 8.6, 8.7, 8.8. Four shlokas. Krishna repeats the same instruction. In Sanskrit, whenever something is repeated 3 times, it's considered extremely important. Well, here, Krishna repeats it 4 times. What is he saying in these 4 shlokas? The same thing. If you remember me at the time of death, certainly you will attain my nature, you will come to me. Of this there is no doubt. Asamshaya. There is no doubt of this. So how can you remember Krishna at the end of your life? That you don't come back here. Who wants to know? Okay. Everyone knows that the Krishna and Krishna Nam is no difference. Krishna and his holy name are the same. All you have to do now is remember the holy name at the time of death. You don't have to remember Krishna Lila or Krishna's whatever qualities or his forms. Just remember his holy name, because his holy name is non-different than him. So if you remember the holy name of the Lord, you'll attain Krishna's nature. That's what he says, asamshaya. There's no doubt about this. But what happens at the time of death? Everyone is terrified. Why are we terrified? Because our whole life flashes in front of us, and we remember all the sinful things we said, we did, we thought about, especially before we became devotees, and we become terrified that maybe I have to suffer the reaction from these things. And if you hear the Yamadutas coming, you should be terrified. And how will you know if the Yamadutas are coming? First, you'll experience the howling of the wind. Oh, like a huge storm in your consciousness. And then you'll hear the howling of jackals. Oh, oh. And you'll hear chains rattling. And you'll hear steps coming closer and closer and closer. You better remember the holy name, because you don't want to see the Yamadutas. Because if you see the Yamadutas, you failed. This life was wasted. You're going to have another birth. You're going to be taken to Yamaraj's court because you didn't remember Krishna's name. So how can we be sure that we're always going to be able to remember Krishna's name at the time of death? That's what japa is all about. Japa is to put in some samskara in your consciousness, a habit that your mind goes to the holy name. 16 rounds every day, every week, every month, every year. And you don't even have to do it your whole lifetime. Just do it from this moment on. Don't look back. From this moment on, let's get serious about going back to Godhead. And why should we be serious about going back to Godhead? Well, there's so many reasons. Number one is that if you go back to Godhead, all of your family members also get that opportunity. They may decline. Some people like the material world, but they get that opportunity. That's one reason why you should do it, because there's no greater benefit you can give to your family members than for you to go back home, back to Godhead, so they also get that opportunity. What's the second reason? Even more important. Try to imagine this. You want to go home, back to Godhead, so that you can go to Srila Prabhupada and say, thank you. You saved my life. It's because of you that I come back home. You want to say thank you to Prabhupada. And what happens if you don't go back to Godhead? Take birth again. Prabhupada's going to wonder, what happened? Nobody came back to Godhead. I worked so hard for their benefit. No one came back. He may think I was a failure. How could we do that to Prabhupada, to make him think he was a failure? Because he wasn't. We were the failure. And if we all go back home, back to Godhead, all the residents of Goloka will come to Prabhupada and say, you did a fantastic job. Look how many people, even from the UK, are coming back to Godhead. So this is the greatest service we can do to Prabhupada. Make him feel that he didn't waste his time, that he was successful. And you're successful. And all your family members are benefited. It's a win-win-win. So let's get serious about our chant. Let's try to hear the holy name, because the mind is not part of the process. I'm going to make one more point, and then we'll open it up for questions. I'm going to share an experience with you, and I'm going to ask you how many people have had the same experience, okay? Chanting japa. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. All of a sudden you come to the end of the round. And you can't quite remember how you got to the end of the round. Anybody ever have that experience? How many people lift your hands? Almost everybody in the room. Well, everybody's had that experience. Those who haven't lifted their hands, they're just too tired to raise the hand. You have to feed them more prashadam. Why can't we remember how we got to the end of the round? And I'm going to answer that question by asking you a question. And when you answer the question that I give you, then you'll know what's the answer why you can't remember. Are you ready? Okay, here's my question. You can answer it just in your own mind. You don't have to out loud. Can you remember something you've never heard? What's the answer?
No.
How many people say no? Well, it's logical. You can't remember something you've never heard. That's why you can't remember how you got to the end of the round, because you didn't hear the chanting. Why not? Because you were thinking. When you think, you can't hear. I already told you that. When you think, you cannot hear. Write it down in your phone. When you think, you cannot hear. And there's one other thing you should write down in your phone. Very important. When you sing, you cannot think. That's why Paramvijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtana, the supreme conqueror of Maya, is Sri Krishna Kirtan. Because when you sing in mantra, in kirtan, you can't think. Now some people say, well, I was thinking during that kirtan. Yes, it's true. But you were thinking while I was singing. Once you start singing, you can't think anymore. Because when you sing, you can't think. But as soon as you stop singing and I sing, then you start thinking. And what is the proof? The proof is you don't follow the melody. How many heard that you didn't follow the melody properly? Who heard it? Let's see your hands. Most of you. Some people didn't follow what I was doing because they didn't hear. They just were on automatic pilot. Oh, he's doing the same melody, but I wasn't doing the same melody. Hare Krishna. Have you learned something today?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Okay, you were first.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for mentioning that point about how you can differentiate the voice that you hear in your head, whether it's your mind or whether it's Paraman.
Yeah, I already answered that
But
question.
I have one more follow-up question.
Sorry?
I have one more follow-up question.
Okay, do you remember the answer to the question? Paramatma comes and speaks in 2 seconds and is gone. Your mind analyzes for minutes. That's how you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes the mind can also give an urge that just comes in and out like that. Just it can also be like 2 or 3 seconds. So how?
That urge is for sense gratification, to do something.
Correct.
We're just talking about not what we're doing, but what we're hearing. We hear, like I was driving my car, and the voice said, take the next exit, get a hotel for the night. I was driving the car, but I didn't hear. Prabhupada said, the definition of hearing is that you follow. If you didn't follow it, you didn't hear it. That's the Sanskrit definition of hearing. It went in this ear and came out the other ear. That's not hearing. Hearing is it goes into your heart and you follow what you've heard. That's called hearing. That's the Vedic understanding of hearing. We have the 20th century, or 21st century Maya understanding of hearing. Comes in this year, goes out the other year. What time is it now?
7 o'clock.
So,
What were you doing yesterday at 7:01? Can't remember. What were you saying at 7:01? You can't remember. It's just yesterday. Just a tiny span out of your whole life. So we have to learn to hear and remember. Shravanam means hearing. When we repeat what we've heard, that's called kirtanam. And when we hear and we repeat, then we get what's called smaranam, remembrance. So 3 steps. First you hear, then you repeat, then you remember. If you don't hear, you can't remember. We already agreed on that point. Did I answer your question?
thank you.
Anybody else who has a question? Yes.
Thank you for your
Speak
amazing,
up.
thank you for your amazing lecture.
Thank
I
you.
was listening from outside, and I have one question. Prabhupada also said it is good to remember the pastimes of Krishna when we're chanting. So that's what Smaranam did. So is it something we should try to do when we're chanting, or should we wait?
Well, I
for it
already
to come
answered
by
that
itself?
question because Malati asked Prabhupada, what should we think of? Prabhupada said nothing. The mind is not part of the process. The tongue vibrates the holy name. It's active devotional service. The ear hears the holy name. That's passive devotional service. That's it. The mind is not part of the process. In the beginning, if you can think of Krishna Lila, that's okay. There's nothing wrong. But the idea is you want to be able to control your mind so you don't think anything at all. Because if your mind is forcing you to think, it's not your mind. Your mind is independent. Your mind, you want to be a Vaishnava. Your mind doesn't want to be a Vaishnava. There's the perfect example. You want to stop sense gratification, your mind doesn't want to stop. So it's not really my mind. It's the mind. And we have to learn to control the mind. Every yoga system, whatever yoga system it is, controlling the mind is the basis of every system. The highest understanding of the bhakti yoga, after you control your mind, control your senses and everything, is to chant the mantra. So before I joined ISKCON, I was following another guru and another yoga system, Kundalini yoga. It's mainly based on pranayama and ajahara, but no chanting of mantras. So when I met the devotees and they were asked, they told me, well, I listened. Should I tell this pastime? How I came to ISKCON? Do we have time?
Yeah, well, we should do some more kirtan as well then.
Or should I do it on another day?
I don't know, how long is it?
5-10 minutes.
Yes.
We should go now, okay.
And then we'll do kirtan.
So, in 1968, just before Christmas, I had a very powerful experience, an epiphany about consciousness and about evolution. That evolution was not the evolution of bodies, but it was the evolution of consciousness within each body, starting from the lowest consciousness to the highest consciousness, which was accepted as God consciousness. And that there is a secret, that wherever you are in that evolution of consciousness, if you know the secret, you can pop out and go right to the top. So I was reading different yoga books and everything. I wanted to know that secret. So January 1st, 1969, I had no idea of ISKCON, no idea of Prabhupada, just reading books that I got from the bookstores about yoga. I became a follower of the yoga process, became vegetarian, following different asanas, and always going to a guru. In those days, late 60s and early 70s, hundreds of gurus were coming from India. It was a big business, go to the West and get the rich disciples. So, and we're looking for a spiritual master. We don't know that most of them are bogus. I didn't. So we would all go. My friends also, in the university. And I remember one particular time, my friend Gary, he said, oh, a new guru is coming to town tonight. He's having a program. Let's go. And I said, oh, I already had booked an engagement this evening. I can't go. But you go. And then come back and tell me what he said. So later that evening, knock on the door, Gary's there. Wow, you missed the best darshan we ever had of any guru. I said, really? He gave the highest knowledge. This is it. This is what we've been looking for all the time. I said, what is the highest knowledge? He said, you are God. I said, I'm God. Well, how come I don't know I'm God? What is it that God doesn't know who he is? And then I said, what is that power that is more powerful than God makes him forget who he is? He couldn't answer that. But he bought it. And I had another friend who also bought it. They thought they were God. They could follow this guru yoga process and become God. Anyway, so I was going and hearing different gurus. Finally, I started to take up this process of Kundalini yoga because this guru didn't say you become God, he said you become enlightened. So, okay, that sounds more reasonable. Let me become enlightened. So when I met the devotees on Oxford Street, because I was living in London, 1972. I turned the corner, I heard ching, 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 turned the corner, and there were the London devotees doing Harinam Sankirtan. So I stopped to listen. They approached me, gave me a card. They said, our spiritual master is coming Friday evening. You give a talk, why don't you come? Here's the address. So I said, okay. Even though I was following this yogi, Narayanananda Swami, his name was, I was still going to hear every other guru because I was looking for the secret. None of them ever said there was a secret. And I had that deep experience that there was a secret. I was searching for that secret. So that Friday evening, I came to the temple, 7 Berry Place, near the British Museum in London, Tottenham Court Road. And they said, get a seat in the temple room. Prabhupada will be coming down in a few minutes. So then Prabhupada entered, sat down. Temple room was packed with guests. And the first thing Prabhupada did was he started a kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And he did that for about, 9 or 10 minutes. Created a very peaceful, spiritual atmosphere in the room. And then he began his talk. And this is what he said. He said, everyone is suffering from an identity crisis. Nobody knows who they are. They don't know where they came from before they were born. They don't know what's going to happen to them, where they're going to go after they die. They don't know who they are. They don't know what am I supposed to do while I'm here on this planet. What is my purpose? Prabhupada called that an identity crisis. We've forgotten everything. So he was speaking like this. And then he was saying that we're not these bodies. You're not English and I'm not Indian. We're spiritual. We're eternal spiritual souls inhabiting temporary bodies, birth after birth. And our eternal identity is spiritual. And we come from the spiritual world. And the Supreme Lord, his name is Krishna, and he's waiting for us to return to the spiritual world. But in order to return to the spiritual world, you have to begin to realize your eternal spiritual identity. So Prabhupada was speaking like this. And then he said, and now I'm going to tell you the secret of success, how you can understand your eternal spiritual identity. When he said that, I was so excited. Wow, this guru knows the secret. I was so interested, focused. What's he going to say? This is what I've been waiting for 4 years. I've been practicing yoga. No other guru knew the secret. He's going to reveal the secret. Then Prabhupada said, the secret of success is this mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then Prabhupada paused, and then he said something that no other guru had ever said, and I had heard a lot of them. He said, of course you don't know me. I am a stranger in your country. And intelligent people do not blindly accept what strangers tell them. This is what Prabhupada said. I'm a stranger. You shouldn't believe what I'm telling you. And when he said that, I was thinking, yeah, right. I don't blindly accept what I hear from strangers. And I looked around the room. I know people were nodding. Everyone got the message. Prabhupada paused briefly, and then he said, but what should intelligent people do? He asked that question. Then he said, and intelligent people will make a test to see if what this Swami is saying is true or not true. And then Prabhupada gave the test we should make. He said, so you chant this Maha Mantra in your home for 10 or 15 minutes a day, for a week or two, and see what is the result. And if you feel that you got some benefit, that's wonderful. But if you feel you didn't get a benefit, still there is no loss, because I'm not charging for this mantra. I'm giving it free of charge, so there's no loss. And if you feel that you didn't get a benefit, you can come to our temple every day at noon, and we'll feed you your lunch for free. You get a free lunch. This is how Prabhupada preached. Got you to chant the holy name to make a test, because that's what intelligent people do. And if you feel you didn't get a benefit, come and get free lunch. So he's getting you to chant the holy name and to honor Mahaprasad, take Prasad, the two most powerful processes known in yoga to become purified. Then he asked for questions. I don't remember the questions, but after the questions, Prabhupada again did a kirtan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, and then he thanked everyone for coming, and that was the end of the talk, and he went back up to his room. And as soon as he left temple room, the devotees would go out to the guests and start preaching. So one Mataji came to me. She said, how did you like the talk? I said, oh, I liked it very much. She said, are you ready to make a test? I said, I already have a guru. She said, oh, that's wonderful. What yoga process are you following? I said, I'm following Kundalini yoga. She said, oh, that's wonderful. We're following Bhakti yoga. Have you heard of Bhakti yoga? And I hadn't. For 4 years, I've been reading all kinds of books. I've never heard of Bhakti yoga. None of these Mayavadis ever mentioned it. So I said, no, I've never heard Bhakti yoga. She said, oh, that's the process that's next after Kundalini yoga. That's the next higher process. She was a good preacher. I said, oh. She said, my spiritual master has written so many books. You should read those books. Anyway, to make a long story short, I went home, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Sri Upanishad, and Krishna book. But I was still continuing my Kundalini yoga sadhana every day. But one afternoon, a couple of days later, I decided to start reading the Gita. So I was reading the Gita, and I liked it. I was reading and reading. And then I came to that part where Krishna says to Arjuna that I am God. And when Krishna says to Arjuna that he's God, I put the book down. And I was thinking, here's another one who says he's God. Is he like these Indian swamis? This Krishna? Everybody's God. So, but I was thinking that I liked what Krishna said earlier in the Gita, so I decided, let me continue reading, see what happens. So then a little later on, Arjuna says, oh, you are God? Can you prove it? Can you show me your universal form? And then Krishna says, sure, no problem. Then the next chapter, His universal form is described in great detail. And I went, wow, Krishna proved that he was God. None of these other gurus ever prove it. They want you to blindly accept without any proof. But still I had one doubt. So I decided I would go next day to get my free lunch at the temple. And when I arrived there, that Mataji saw me. Said, oh, welcome. Nice to see you again. Thank you. Are you reading the books? Yeah, I'm reading Bhagavad Gita. Oh, that's so wonderful. I said, Krishna says he's God. Yes, Krishna is God. So then I said, look at the picture on the front of this Gita. There's Krishna and Arjuna sitting in the chariot. Krishna's in one place, but God is everywhere. How can he be God? So she said to me, yes, Krishna's so wonderful. He can be in one place and every place at the same time. And I went, wow! I never thought of that. You can be in one place and every place at the same time. And I said, if you can be in one place and every place at the same time, then that must be God. Only God can do that. So in a very simple way, she completely convinced me. Such deep preaching, so simple. She just defeated every argument I had. Then she said, are you reading the books? No, I already did that, already said that. Then she said, are you making the test? So I said no, because I wasn't. I was reading the books, but I wasn't making the test, which Prabhupada said, chant the Mahamantra 10-15 minutes a day in your home. So I said no. She said, but if you don't make the test, how will you realize your eternal spiritual identity? If you don't make the test, you'll never know. You want to remain in ignorance. I was trapped. Either if I make a test, I'm intelligent. If I don't make a test, I'm not intelligent. So she said, okay, you should make a test. Here's how we do it. She took out her beads. She said, we have these beads, 108 beads. We chant the mantra like this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we do it on every bead, 108 beads. We do that 108 times. That's called one round. I said, wow, that's a good sadhana. She said, we do it 16 rounds every morning. I went, 16 rounds? Oh my God. I was amazed. I didn't know if I could do such a thing. She said, well, give it a try. Just make a test. That's what intelligent people do. Okay. So, the next day, one afternoon, I sat down on the bed and I said, okay, let me try this. So I was used to doing meditation, so I looked at my watch and I closed my eyes and I started chanting on the beads. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kept chanting until I came to the end. And I opened my eyes, looked at my watch, only 10 minutes had passed. Only 10 minutes. That wasn't so bad. Now let me try one more. So then again, looked at my watch, closed my eyes, and did a second round. And when I finished, it was only 10 minutes. So I was thinking, this is not as difficult as I thought. Let me try 4 rounds tomorrow. So the next day I did 4 rounds, closed my eyes, looked at my watch. At the end, 40 minutes had passed. I think I can do this. I think I can do 8 rounds. Let me do 8 rounds tomorrow. So the next day I did 8 rounds. And at the end of 8 rounds, I was feeling very calm, very peaceful, had a very spiritual mood. And I was thinking, wow, this is wonderful. This is a real meditation. And then I was thinking, the Mataji at the temple, she does 16 rounds. Well, if she can do 16, so can I. That was my male ego. So the next day, I sat down and I chanted 16 rounds. And I felt really good. I felt that I had accomplished something. And that was in 1972, so I'm still chanting on these speeds since then. So this is how Srila Prabhupada got people to chant. Intelligent people make a test. This is, by chanting this mantra, you can realize your eternal spiritual identity. Make a simple test. And if you feel after a week or two you didn't get a benefit, come to our center and get a free lunch. So you're getting them to chant, you're getting them to take prasadam. And in the end, people joined. Even though when they went home and told their family members and friends and relatives, I'm thinking of joining the Hare Krishnas. Don't do it, they're a dangerous sect. But still we came, because we got an experience. So Bhakti Yoga is not a belief system, it's not a religion, it's experiential. You can experience something which is real, which changes your life. Okay, Hare Krishna, 10 minutes over. I promised I'd be finished in 10 minutes. Any other points for discussion?
I think maybe we should have more kirtan now, and then everybody will be coming back.
More
again.
kirtan now.
Yeah.
Okay? What, an hour kirtan or 2 hour kirtan?
3. Yeah. Originally we were going to stop at 6:30, but I would say chant.
What time is it now?
Well, it's 25 past, so just chant, and we'll serve prasadam
Okay.
after your kirtan. So just go.
Because when you tell me how long it is, then I know which melody to use.
Well, I would say, maybe chant. Is
I'm gonna
everyone
give you-
okay if we go a little bit longer?
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe like, what, half an hour?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you my 45-minute melody, but I'll make it brief. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna
Hare Oh,
Let's show our appreciation one more time. Let's give a really big round of applause. Vaiyāsaki Dāsa. So on behalf of everyone here, I would like to say we are very thankful that you made the test. And we said at the beginning of this, Prabhupada would sometimes say, what is the difficulty? And we said that sometimes all you need is a kirtan, like that, to make us realize that there is nothing in the 14 worlds but the holy name. What is the difficulty? So, we would also like to say, now you go home and make a test. Go home and chant 16 rounds tomorrow morning. And if you don't get anything from it, you can still come tomorrow for your free lunch. So, joking aside, thank you so much, Prabhu. One thing is hearing the holy name, but when we hear about the holy name, that inspires us to chant the holy name. So you began by chanting, and then you spoke, and like you said, not from the Shastra, but from your own experience. One time, Srila Prabhupada said, how do we know that Krishna is God? And different devotees came up with different answers, because he says so in the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada said, Any book could say this or that. Because Krishna tells us so. Because you told us so. He said, I could be lying. Different devotees went through different answers, and then one younger devotee reluctantly put his hand up and he said, because when I chant the holy names of Krishna, I can feel the presence of God. And Prabhupada said, yes, this is it. So yes, I'm certainly feeling the presence of Krishna here in this room tonight. So thank you so much, Prabhu. We will be coming again tomorrow at 3 o'clock, usual time. Vaiyāsaki Prabhu will be doing, of course, more kirtan. And he will be speaking a special talk about what he learned from Srila Prabhupada in the UK, in the US, and in India. So Prabhu is not only a wonderful kirtan singer, but he's a wonderful speaker as well. So please come back again tomorrow at 3 o'clock and bring a friend. Bring 2 friends, bring 3 friends. Let's have as many people here as we can. We're going to serve prasadam in a minute. We have a big pot of pasta and salads, and we have some drink. So we'd just like to ask everyone, please, can you give us a hand to set up? We'll serve prasadam in here. So please give us a hand to bring everything up. Please give us a hand to serve. And please give us a hand to clear up afterwards. We'll leave the curtains open for a few more minutes if you want to come and take darshan. And as I say, Prabhu will be back again tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ke, Shri Shri Panchatattva ke, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ke, Mahaprasadam ke, Nitai Gaura Pranam.